our next guest is a member of Congress who is doing everything he can to make C-SPAN exciting.
Have you all lost your minds? Donald Trump opposes it because Donald Trump wants to be president, because Donald Trump has 91 felony counts that he's facing, and the only way that those go away and he is not held accountable is if he's president. You all, God, I don't know what it feels like to be so helpless to have to follow somebody like Donald Trump. Follow Donald Trump. And it's fine, I get it. You must see yourselves as so very tiny and so very small when you look at Donald Trump, and he's so big that he looms so large over you that you would do anything that he says to support him?
From our 14th district here in California, please welcome Eric Swalwell. That's like a Comedy Central roast you have going there.
Yeah, they're not serious.
On like just a human level, when you eviscerate your fellow members of Congress like that, what is it like afterwards? Like, are you guys in the cafeteria together? What kind of conversations do you have after that?
There's a gym, like a congressional gym.
Heard about that, yeah.
You know, you have Jim Jordan. Sometimes he's on like the elliptical next to my treadmill. And the first couple of times I thought, oh, this is going to be really awkward. But you go in there and he's like, hey, Swalwell, how you doing, man? I'll see Matt Gaetz out at a restaurant in D.C. and he'll come over and be like, hey, buddy, how's it going? Ted Cruz during the impeachment, you know, the second impeachment, I probably should clarify. Yeah. We're on a break and we're in the bathroom and I'm washing my hands. He's washing his.
He washes his hands?
The cleanest they'd ever been. And he looks at me and he goes, hey, man, we've never met. I'm Ted. And he puts his fist out. And I was like, hey, Ted. And I gave him like a fist bump back. And he could tell I was looking at him like he had three heads.
Right.
Because the night before, he was roasting me on Fox News. And he says to me, he goes, you know, you're doing a really good job out there. And I'm like, what is this guy talking about? He goes, no, really, you're doing a good job. And it occurred to me, for these guys, they're just pro wrestlers. They don't even believe it. Mm-hmm. Like, they just go out there in the ring in service of Donald Trump. They want to be famous, but that's not what they want to do. I think that's worse because some of them, like when I see Marjorie Taylor Greene, if she's at a restaurant, she wants to kill me.
Right.
And so like, I'm not engaging with that.
So she's sincere.
Yeah.
So she's actually crazy.
Yeah. But I think it's worse if
Good for her.
She's actually... I think it's worse, though, if you know better and you're still
Sure
doing
it is. Of course it is. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene can't help being a dummy.
Yeah.
But if you can help it and you are a dummy anyway, I mean, that's kind of despicable.
And pro wrestling was fun when I was a kid, but like that's not why I went to Washington.
Right,
I've got a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old.
In the bathroom, is Ted Cruz like, is he eating the urinal cakes or what's he up to? Adam Kinzinger was here. He is, for those who don't know, he's a former Republican congressman who's very outspoken against Donald Trump and has really been, I think, persecuted by a lot of even members of his family, et cetera, you know, these people. I think he said something similar about, like, Trump. Do you know, does Trump like that? Is he like Hulk Hogan also back there?
He's an entertainer. He's just an entertainer. Yeah.
So he's friendly to you when you see him?
He told me I do a good job on TV.
He did?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's all that matters to this guy. Like, again, the consequences for everyone else, like women in their bodies, kids in their safety at school, you know, seniors in their health care. Like, to him, it's me, and that comes first. And so if you see someone else on TV, again, when the cameras aren't on, he's like, hey, yeah, we're in the club. And it's like, no, buddy, like, there's actually real consequences and stakes for what you're taking us all through.
That is just crazy. You're one of the few Democrats who goes on Fox News. It's really like you and Pete Buttigieg and Gavin Newsom, maybe a couple of others. Why? Yeah. Do they call you and say, like, hey, we need a guy, we need somebody to fight with?
Well, I think I probably go on for different reasons than the other two. I go on so my parents can see me on TV. My mom and dad are Republicans. My wife, Brittany, is from Indiana. She was raised by Republicans. She grew up with the Pence family. And I actually think, you know, let's go make the best case to the people who need to hear it the most. And we have to do that more. I also think Democrats sometimes, we stand too much on virtue and like modesty, and we think everything is a Harvard Law School moot court competition. but we just need to talk about this like it's a gut check to the regular folks and not make this so complicated. Just be real about what the stakes are. And you're going to see that on Tuesday night with Kamala Harris, by the way.
I'm interested about your parents. Now, I mean, they say a lot of nasty things about you on Fox News. I mean, they're your parents. Doesn't that upset them and make them go, I see that what they're saying is not true. I shouldn't believe anything else they say.
My mom told me recently that when she would hear Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity go after me, she would change the channel. She's like, I don't like that, honey. I think they went too far. So, yeah, thanks, Mom.
Wow. Wow, I mean, I have
But
family
even
members
after-
like that, but not my mom and dad. I think that would be devastating. What's Thanksgiving like at your house?
The 2016 Thanksgiving, there were a lot of hats, and my mom had to implement the following year like a no hat rule because there were some
Red hats?
back and forth red hats. But they're not voting for Trump this time.
I see.
Because they're Reagan Republicans. They believed in small government, low taxes, and that we'd be strong in the world. And Trump is the opposite, of all of that. And they also look at my kids, and I think they see an opportunity to just bury this guy and bury this movement. Like recently, my son was with me at a parade, and we were passing out rubber duckies for St. Patrick's Day parade, and he's going to every little kid, and he's giving him a rubber ducky. And this man was standing behind his little girls. My son Nelson gives him the rubber ducky. And the man says to my little boy, he says, "We're for Trump." And my son looks at me, and he looks back at the man, and he said, "Who's Trump?" And so I think we have an opportunity to who's Trump this for the next generation on November 5.
You've known Kamala Harris for a long time, right?
Yeah, she and I both got our start in the same prosecutor's office in Oakland. We were a couple years apart. We worked for the same boss, though. And this boss, Tom Orloff, he described the prosecutor's office in Alameda County, where Earl Warren was the DA, that it was like an aircraft carrier. And you had the flight crew, who were important, the lawyers who supported the fighter pilots. And the fighter pilots were the ones who took out the hardest cases to do justice, and they were fearless. And when I joined the office and was starting to hear about Kamala Harris, in the Attorney General's office, I asked colleagues, I said, what kind of trial lawyer was she? And across the board, everyone said, Kamala was a fighter pilot. She took the hardest cases out. And I think you're going to see that on Tuesday night. She's serious. She doesn't take herself too seriously, but she's also fearless. And also, she knows how to have a little bit of fun. And I think, Jimmy, the team that has the most fun is the team that wins. Now, we can't... On November 5, we don't count joy, we count votes. So we've got work to do over the next 60 days, and this is a tight race. But she's going to show that she cares about you and the future. And
You mean me or personally?
She really cares about you.
Oh, that's really nice.
She wanted me to pass it along. But Trump is just going to be me, grievance on Tuesday night. And I think she's going to show just how insignificant he is and how important these issues are for all of us.
Well, thank you for being here. Eric Swalwell, everybody. He's a congressman. Thank you, Eric. We'll be right back with Rex Orange County.